Aloha and welcome to another episode of the Rainbow Wrap Up. And tonight we're joined, of course, by the one and only Sean Iman. What's up, Sean?
What's up, Wayne? What's up, Warrior Nation?
You know, we had another win this past week, so we're going to talk about that, of course. And it was in Ching Field and Colt Brennan week and Colt Brennan night, and that's going to be amazing. But first, we got to bring in a very special guest tonight in place of our Lau head, and that's our very close friend, Aaron Montoya. What's going on, Aaron?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Nice to be here.
Well, Aaron, you have an interesting story as well. And just talk about your UH connection, maybe, and why you are such a passionate UH fan.
Yeah, so I'm originally from the Coachella Valley, Southern California. My entire family is from Hawaii. We're the only ones who lived out here. And, you know, everyone in this area either is a USC fan or UCLA, but it was my grandparents who would send me UH shirts and hats, watches, and every once in a while, you know, I would see a nationally televised game, and that was fun for me, you know. But as time went on, when June Jones came in, and all the games were being televised here in California every Saturday, I just became a diehard fan. You know, it was, my life was all around UH football, and you know, my grandparents used to tailgate, season ticket holders, and my grandfather, the games that weren't being showed out here, you know, he was like 89 years old, taught him how to use the VCR. He would use his walker, go to the VCR, record the games for me. And then I wouldn't watch TV, you know, until I got that videotape the following Wednesday. And then I watched the games that way. But it's just,
Wow.
I think mostly my grandfather's influence, you know, always
Of course.
talking about it. And, you know, it's a family tradition, you know, it's something that was passed down to me. And as I got older and, you know, started working on my own, my mother actually went to USC for her doctorate degree. And she happened to say, hey, does USC have a football team? And I said, yeah, they do. They're pretty good too. And she goes, oh, they're playing UH. You want to go see a game? So we hopped on the plane. I saw my first game at Aloha Stadium, June Jones's first game.
Wow.
And to me, to walk into that stadium and to be around other UH fans that weren't UCLA or weren't USC, and nobody's making fun of the logo on my shirt or my hat, you know, because growing up here in California.
Of course.
I mean, I was hooked. I mean, just the roar of that crowd and seeing all the fans there and people just like me. I'm like, wow, I was addicted. And ever since then, I had season tickets. I would plan my season out. I would save money. I would fly out Friday night, Thursday night, or Friday night, depending on, you know, the schedule. And I've been at almost every home game.
Wow.
Since, you know.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Well, you also were traveling, right? You told me about that time when there were some, I don't know if people remember the days when airlines offered like a pack of tickets for a year. I remember you said that you took advantage of that before, right? Coming to every UH home game one time. Talk about that.
2006, 2007, ATA Airlines was flying out of Ontario, and it was like $99 each way. And so after work, I would just drive out to Ontario, park my car, and I'd be on a plane. You know, it was 200 round trip. I got to see my family for the day. My friends were there, and it's kind of funny. They would actually put in their request for Mexican barbecue. So I would buy it the day before. I would freeze it.
Nice.
And by the time I got to the stadium, the grill was ready to go. The meat had defrosted, and we barbecued.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. Wow.
And to watch all the UH fans like, what is that? Where did you get that at? You know, so something different. I guess they hadn't seen in a while.
Well, what a year that 2006-07 year was, obviously. I was in my last year of college, actually, in New York. So all of the games I went to were I did go to a few home games. Like I went to October break home game. That was the year, of course, we played Alabama. And then that was the year where we probably, you know, we lost the Alabama game. We also lost the Boise and the Oregon State game, right? So were you at those two games as well? Do you remember what? I remember that Oregon State game is the last game I can remember that was.
I'm not too sure. I gotta double check on that.
50,000, but the Oregon State game was sold out. Was a major sellout. I remember.
Wait, that was the
the year we lost. No, the 2006.
No, it was at the end of the season.
It was at the end of the year.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was 2006. We lost 3 times, and honestly, that was probably our best team, right? And then, you know, we slaughtered Arizona State in the Hawaii Bowl, and Colt had a great game, and that's kind of when all of that chatter started, and which I expected, similarly, and let's bring it back to today, um, with, of course, Calvin Turner, and his decision to return to Hawaii, even though he had a huge bowl out showing on national TV and in a game that was the only game on TV that day that was college football, so everybody was watching, so that in similar fashion, I mean, we don't know if Calvin Turner will have the same legacy as Colt Brennan, probably not, just because Calvin is almost done with his career, but it was beautiful to have that Colt Brennan night, and for Calvin Turner to be playing. And of course, that was this past Saturday's first ever game with fans at TC Ching Field. Of course, the Bows played and defeated New Mexico State in similar fashion.
Yeah,
again. So wow, what a game with so much history. That's going to be a great trivia question. Is like, we played the same team twice. It was the first game with fans. I mean, it's Colt Brennan night. So much tucked away into that game, but Sean, what are some of the things you take away from just quite a night?
I think it was very emotional. Like, I wasn't there, but you could feel it. Like the whole week, like on social media, like just the tributes and watching the videos, reliving the 2006, 2007 season. It was just, amazing to see.
Yeah.
How good he was. His throws, the stadium was alive and jumping. So
different era for sure. But Colt Brennan, he also was a guy that we knew towards the end of his life, wasn't that close to the program. So and he really did come to the stadium when the 2017 was honored, which was great to see him. But I wish he had this moment, while he was still alive. And that would have been nice in front of a full capacity stadium. And that's something we do have to bring up, because that is something that has just been recently announced. And when Mayor Blangiardi said it was time to move forward. And now the next game, and we'll talk about, before we get back to New Mexico State, we will talk about the fact that the San Diego State game, which will be on November 7th, November 6th, sorry, will be played in front of a full house of vaccinated fans. Disclaimer, but that's another choice, to be vaccinated, right? If you want to go to the game. So that'll be exciting as well. I think it'll be interesting. I'm excited. It'll be interesting for sure.
Do you expect a max capacity crowd? Do you think UH is going to be able to
I don't know
get
if they're going to get 9,000. I don't know if they're going to be able to get distributed tickets in time, first of all. Because it's so close. I mean, they might. It's just like the team, we are coming off a win. And it's hard during the pandemic. Still, a lot of people might not want to go out, even if they are vaccinated. So I will. At the end of the day, our fan base has taken a huge hit. So I'm going to start with that before I start making excuses with the pandemic, because our fan base is way lower than it was ever. And the fact that we have this pandemic just made everything worse, for sure. But if the pandemic didn't cause the downfall of the fan base, it was just neglect on retaining fans that have been around for a long time, and not taking them for granted, quite frankly, and instead maybe trying to develop a new generation of fans. But this generation has passed. I mean, it's 15 years since Colt Brennan played, so it is definitely a new era, and this stadium is a part of that, and Aloha Stadium is a part of the old era, and so there's a lot of changes, I will say. But it'll be nice to have a full capacity. It'll be interesting. I know we want to talk about my game experience. I don't know if we want to talk about that yet. Anything we want to talk about the New Mexico State game? What
was your take? I mean, I only saw a small.
So I got to be there, right? Yes.
Yeah. I mean, was the overall presentation of the Colt Brennan night was it better than what they showed on TV? I mean,
I mean,
Did you cry, Wayne?
I cried because of Colt Brennan, of
Yeah.
course, seeing it on the screen.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm going to. Whenever you show me highlights of Colt Brennan and all the amazing things that he did, of course, I'm going to be extremely emotional. That doesn't take much. I thought that the presentation was long. It was long waiting. Put it that way. Like I just felt like I was happy that it happened. It was kind of surreal, especially when Billy V said that the number was finally retired. I just thought to myself, like, why do we wait this long? I'm so
Thank
glad we
God.
did it, but like, could have been done for whenever. It could have been done when he was alive to hold his own plaque. But
Right.
you know what? And we talked about this. If you go and watch my interview with Colt, and mahalo to people like Sean and Timmy who helped to make that connection where Colt, was reaching out to want to be on the show. Because he, you never know what kind of time you're going to get back. And we had to fight to even get that interview. There are people that didn't want us interviewing him, and that's just the truth. And there are people around the program. And it's not like, I'm not saying they weren't justified, because Colt, quote unquote, burned a lot of bridges, and he admits to it, because and I brought this up in the interview with him. I was straight up with him. Of course, in the most loving way, because I love Colt Brennan, and that's why I can ask him these questions. But the fact is, his reputation changed right towards the end of his life,
Right.
and that was sad. But to us, he was always our hero, and we always loved him. And I wish that same love and care was shown to him by the program as well, because if they did so, even if he showed them up, even if they had to get him a babysitter and make sure he didn't drink alcohol at all until the ceremony started, that would have been worth it, flying him from Kona or something, and just whatever. But those days are gone, and I'm not saying we can go back and change history, but that's something that needs to be said. I'm sorry, it does. And I'm happy that his number is now officially retired. I hope that it's a part of the programs. I hope it's a part of the stadium. I hope it's on the side of the building. I hope it's on the field. I really do. 15 should be a part of the branding of this program now forever. His spirit is with this program, which is now changing. It's different, and it's different. I mean, the stadium is not ready. It's not even a stadium. It's like just stands, basically.
Yeah, for the love of God, can we please get that number 15 available for purchase?
Exactly. That's another thing. Like, people are clamoring for 15. A
gold mine.
But talk about it. Why are we not, though? Why, Sean? Why?
That's a great question. Like, when they debuted the number, it should have been available like a month later. There's so many people are wearing the 15, and it was the old one. And if you want one of those old ones, it's like $300 to $500 on eBay. So to make it the Adidas number 15, I think it's a no-brainer. It's a moneymaker.
Yep.
And this program needs it.
Yep. What about you? You still holding on to your old Colt Brennan 15 gear, Aaron, or you've been stocking up? Or
no, I have tons of UH gear, and people go, "What are you gonna do with all this stuff? Get rid of it." And I can't. It's just like this jersey. It's like it's one of my favorite jerseys, and I'm like, "Why don't you buy a new one?"
It reminds me of McMacken, that jersey.
Yeah, but I did. But
that's the Chow era.
If you guys noticed, the newer jerseys they have, once you put it into the washer one time, the numbers all crack up.
Yeah.
And I had to, they gave me a hard time on campus, but they finally took it back. But so now I wash it by hand. So.
Oh, you actually returned your jersey?
Yeah. I was like, hey, I said one game, it shouldn't, the numbers shouldn't be cracking like this.
No, it's true. No, it's true. It happened to me too. I mean, yeah, I probably shouldn't have dried it anyways, but still, it looked like it was like $100 jersey. You would expect it.
Yeah. It wasn't even in the dryer. Better. It was just in the washer. So when the spin cycle went, it cracked all up.
Yeah.
So,
well, with Colt though, I mean, and the point is being on trend. Like, people are looking, people are reaching out to me. Where can we find Colt Brennan stuff? I don't know. The school who owns the rights to that number and the logo, maybe they should. All they do is like UH 15 on the back. Like, literally, they could have just done that. The 15 shirt. I think that apparel is way lacking, and I buy
Well, you
choke
can,
apparel
yeah,
from
you
that
like you
school
can
too.
get it at Hawaii's Finest or
Yeah,
Light
is that
Sleepers.
going back to the school? Is HI's
No,
finest paying
well, I
royalties
mean,
back to the
I
school?
think they both
I doubt
donate.
it. I
They
doubt
both
it.
donate.
If they donate, they're not. They don't
Yeah.
have royalties anyways. If they donate,
Yeah.
that's great. I'm not saying that they don't. I'm just saying like it's not on. It's not on them, on HI's finest or Tokyo Dachi or whatever, to be spreading the brand awareness of the team and to we know the answer why they're belonging. They were late on the Bruno Mars wearing the baseball jersey that everybody was
Yeah.
looking for. So let's not be surprised. And this is like the same thing. We're talking about these same themes every single time. It's tiring. And that's what I mean. As a fan of this program, it's scary seeing how we're losing so many fans and we're not even on the pulse of what the few fans that we have want. Hint, listen to the show. We'll tell you.
Right.
Well,
You
like
know,
let's just say like that Colt Brennan like Nike era, that was a beautiful jersey. Like
right. I
we were
agree.
at the cutting edge back then, like with June
Yeah.
Jones and the
Yeah.
different jerseys
Should
and
have
then
never left
mixing and
Nike.
matching the helmets and stuff. Yeah, we were top notch.
Yeah.
So
Should never have left Nike. That's what I'm saying. These are poor administrative decisions.
I think Nike
Pay per
left us.
view, Under Armour. I mean, even if Nike, we signed with Under Armour then. Nike
Yeah,
was
that's
still, and
true.
Nike's
They
still
approached
doing
us.
college.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's just bad administrative decisions, Sean. That's not them. It's like Nike is cooler. Did you like has Under Armour at any point gotten to Nike's level since they've been
No.
around? Hell no.
No.
Hell no. Are they even on Adidas level? No, I don't
No,
even
but
think so.
I think Nike didn't give us any money. They just gave us apparel.
Oh, for
whereas
sure. But that's what I'm saying.
Under,
Is the money what matters? The money, or you could have been selling how many jerseys, like you said.
Right.
Under Armour gave
Point.
us
How
cash.
can you be selling stuff? Yeah, that we used to pay for subsidies that we also took upon ourselves. And then also we also got cash from Spectrum. So are you saying it's always good to take the cash? It's the same argument you're making right now, Sean.
Right.
So this is what I'm saying. Like if you do so at the peril of your program's, demise, then that's your fault. And that's the problem. Like the pandemic is hiding so many of the issues that have been within the program for a long time, not just this current administration who, hasn't done anything to me that I'm going to celebrate for sure. God. And none has anybody recently. The last thing, Ben J making us Rainbow Warriors and Rainbow Wahine has been like one decision that sticks out that I'm like, okay, finally somebody sit down and made something that brand awareness that we can kind of differentiate and like build upon. But we haven't taken, it's like, and even when we have nice uniforms, like when the men's volleyball team wears like cool uniforms or something, it's like, that should just be all over Instagram the next day. Like, buy this, like, period. And people will buy it. People will pay a lot of money for a nice jersey, for something they see. Even Bo Graham wearing that hat, like, make a freaking post. Like, haha, you see our offensive coordinator making on the sidelines where we talk about that, something that's being on the pulse of the fans. We talk about him wearing that hat. Wear a hat just like Bo Graham on the sideline. It's like a joke. Like, who's gonna wear a hat just because the offensive coordinator wears it? But it's just a part of like adding people to, because that is a part of growing fans, but it's a small percentage. But in Spirit, which is a part of these items, Spirit gear, we already know Spirit doesn't pay for anything because everyday fans are not, essential to the program like the super rich fans are. And this is not me being like, facetious. This is me being serious because this is how they feel. So that's why these decisions, these very micro decisions to you and I, are major decisions to neglect your stock and making sure you have like cool, like, I remember we had the white out and I had the only white Under Armour shirt I could find was like so oddly fitting, had the weirdest collar. It was like a workout shirt that was made with like an Under Armour material, wicking material, but it was like nobody would wear it to work out because it was like shaped so oddly. And I was like, who bought this? Like, who thought this shirt was a good idea? And like that's not a little like these things have repercussions, but nobody cares. People want to focus on who the coach is and who's calling the plays. Like, brah, this is what I'm saying. Like, this is why it takes educated fans from just everyday fans. That's the difference. And that's why what we talk about on this show, for one thing, is because brand awareness, fan awareness of the pulse of the fans is imperative. And I will say the team, go back to the stadium, they understood that there were parts with Aloha Stadium that weren't working, that they could have fixed there, like PA. They had the same old PA at Aloha Stadium for whenever he's not there at Ching. It's a new guy, and he's doing hard. He did some fun stuff that I enjoyed, like the first down Chi-Hu thing. Like I don't know if you guys could hear that on TV. It was like first down Chi-Hu, like that should be that. I don't even know why we didn't think of that before. I think that's brilliant, honestly.
Right.
Like everybody can do that. First down Chi-Hu, and only we would do that. That's the point. We need things unique to us, unique to Hawaii, unique to Hawaii. We are Hawaii. We're already so unique.
And that's
like,
why when they had the conch shell blowing on third down, they brought that back.
Yeah.
And earlier in the season, they just had that bell sound, which you hear at every mainland college, on third down. And the moment I heard that, I was like, wow, that's so mainland, because that conch shell on third down, June Jones days. I mean, that was amazing to me.
Yeah,
I mean,
it did. You're right. The June Jones. You're right. The June Jones days. He appreciated what he knew what it made game environment meant. Yeah. But keep going.
Imagine if we had, the mascot blowing the conch shell on third down, or a student or something,
Yeah.
How long has it been since we've had a mascot?
Yeah, that's the thing. We need a mascot. We need a mascot, and that's why.
Wayne, was the game day experience? It was better than Aloha Stadium, right? Like, or they got.
I miss the stadium. I would still go. Oh God, they have way more. A stadium. It's not a stadium. It's like a fence that has 4 quadrants of like bleachers. That's all it is, with a track in the middle of it. And there's like pits everywhere. There's like sand. There's like all kind of areas that never been irrigated before. Still look like the quarry days or something. It's like, wow. And I don't expect those parts to be done yet, and that's the thing. Like, I'm not gonna harp on the cosmetic parts, because it is what it is. It is what it is. It's the first year. They just threw it up. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing to be praised about. Like, oh my God, it's beautiful, because it's just what it is.
No SoFi.
But it needs. It's gonna be. Well, it's not even San Jose. I don't even think. But it will. And first of all, it's very comfortable. Those are super uncomfortable. People are gonna be incredibly uncomfortable without bucket seats. And I see that being. That's changed gears slightly. Well, first of all, let's talk about the game itself, so we don't get too far away from that. I thought, in terms of like the game environment, it's from the Colt Brennan night. I thought it was super awkward that they brought the family up to present a $15,000 check that was made out to UH Athletics and not to the Colt Brennan Fund, which would have been the perfect night, even if it was set up earlier in his name. But you bring him up there, that he has a fund, and then you give the money to the school. So
give them $3,000.
I don't know. I don't know if the school's going to just forward that money on. I doubt it.
No.
I doubt it. But it would be nice if they at least use that $15,000 to put in a Colt Brennan statue or whatever. I don't know how much statues cost. They probably cost more than $15,000, like a bronze statue, or a bust.
Why did they frame the white jersey? I don't understand.
Yeah, that was so weird too. Like he barely played in that jersey.
The road team jersey, like, it needs to be black.
And it wasn't even. It was like a Adidas jersey.
Yeah,
it's not.
It did look like it wasn't a
Nike jersey. It wasn't.
It wasn't in a Nike jersey. Yeah.
Yeah. Should be switched out.
Don't you have his own? Like, I'll be shocked. Like, wouldn't you think that they'd have his own jersey still there? But even still, you got to have the black.
It needs to be black.
Yeah, it's what Colt Brennan is known for.
Well, this is the kind of stuff we're talking about, like knowing the culture.
Yeah,
and it's just so close, but whiff.
A little bit of a whiff. The family was there. That was nice. I like that we did the singing thing, the One Love. That was cool. And that anything that involves everyone is cool. Like that should be a rule. Everything that involves everyone. And it's hard. Not everyone's going to love everything. Obviously, everybody likes seeing dots race around the screen. I have no idea why, but it really gets everyone so charged. Like third down, people are quiet. Like, let me just take a bite of my Terry burger. And then like, as soon as the dots, oh, blue, bread. Like people are going nuts, like screaming for their colors. Like this, save your energy for the actual game.
I've never understood that.
That's so weird. You were at Aloha Stadium. That was always the strangest thing. But hey, if fans pay money, they can be whatever entertained, as long as they don't make noise when we're on offense, obviously. But you know, have fun, and it doesn't have to be about the game. And that's Hawaii sports fans. You know, that's you know what we're doing at Hawaii Sports Fans as well. Go to hisportsfans.com, or a special internet deal for if you're a Titans fan to come to SoFi. But you know, at the end of the day, all of their tours here are based on that experience, total experience, not just what's happening in the game, not just worrying about who wins or loses. Like you can't control that, right? As a fan, like we can control as much as we can. Maybe we can make noise, maybe we can cause a few penalties, but at the end of the day, it's our team, and we have to be able to enjoy ourselves, whether we win, whether our team loses. And a lot of that has to do with how people feel about being at a game, right? How do they feel about being there at a game? How do they you know, do they come away like happy, or do they come away with like, oh, that was such a weird experience? And the thing is, like, I can't even imagine 9,000 people cramming into what is there right now. I don't even know what it's going to look like. I mean, obviously 10,000 people fit into the Stan Sheriff Center, so it's not like, but you know, people have to get their pre-screen for the Luma site thing. You got to show your UH app. So yeah, if you're planning on going to be in there next week, and even if you just want to go, download the app right now. It takes 3 days to verify your vaccine card, which they don't tell you. So luckily I did mine's early. I guess if you just take your card, you can use it that way, and you can show them, I guess. But I already had, you know, they said to download the app, so you have to upload your card to the app, and then they give you like a green check to verify you. But yeah, I mean that'll cause some a little bit of traffic going to the stadium. But yeah, I just don't know. 9,000. I don't know if we'll get 9,000. Maybe they'll just say buy tickets there. I mean, old school, like show up and buy tickets and just sit wherever. Like I don't think they would do that, but maybe they would I mean, the easiest thing would just do waves. It would just do waves of letting people buy online. That's the best way for them to do it at this point.
They said they're going to go back to the season ticket holders first. They're going to contact them. There was Timmy forwarded, like, tagged me in a KHON news story.
Oh, okay.
They said they're gonna go to the see, which they should.
No, of course they should, but we're talking about distribution. You're gonna go through everybody, and are you gonna go to the people that
that's why, like,
doing season
it took
tickets?
them weeks. I mean, they need to be on it. Like,
I don't even think they got through everybody. I don't even think they finished though, and you know they're still gonna get through everybody. That's what I'm saying. Like, this stadium is just not. You know, it's not a stadium, and I'm sad.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Like, because some people think that this stadium's the answer, and that we don't need new Aloha Stadium.
There's no answer.
No, it's a band-aid.
All the money should just be put into building this thing up, and UH should just play all their home games there going forward.
Okay, what do you say, Aaron? What do you say, Aaron? Go for it, Aaron.
You know, it's nice that they were able to put something together so quickly, but you know, the way I look at it, it should be like a glorified practice field, and we need to get the new Aloha Stadium built. And then reading the news today, it sounds like they're pushing to not even build the new Aloha Stadium. I don't know if you guys saw that today, but
well, the three former governors, which we'll say, have nothing to do. I mean, Ben Caetano, he always has an opinion about everything. And Abercrombie, I think it was Waihe was the other one that joined him in saying that they believe, and they're not wrong. I'm not saying they're wrong, but instead of building NAST or NASED, the new Aloha Stadium Entertainment District, because it's going to be way more than a stadium, if we've seen any of the renderings, is to put in affordable housing instead, which is funny, right, in Hawaii, because we're like, of course, we're going to be like, okay, we put in affordable housing, and then we have like 450 square foot starting at $975,000. You know, it's like we already know what the story is, so that's kind of funny too. But
if you make 75,000,
they're like, you know, even if you don't I mean, like it's crazy. So that is, I think that's, given the state of the program, that's why I always revert back to, where are we trending? We are down. This is. Don't make any mistake about it. We're playing on campus is a downgrade from playing at Aloha Stadium. Aloha Stadium is a legendary historic venue.
I feel like they should do
As
homecoming
much as
there.
people want to crap on Aloha Stadium, it has my grandma's ghost in it, and the rest is the rest of ours.
Right.
And TC Ching ain't nothing, ain't even close. So let's stop. Don't even go there where we're going. Like we want to talk about how this is the answer. It ain't the answer. It's kind of a joke in a way, and I won't use that word only because they just had to build it. But it's sad. I mean, there's a lot of high school fields. They're definitely better than it right now. There's no sidelines. There's only one video screen that is blocked by a huge pillar if you're sitting on the Mauka
Oh,
sideline.
jeez.
Yeah, so if you're on the Mauka side, you're not going to really see that. I mean, I was sitting on it, but you have to always turn your head because it's in that corner. So
the sight lines from the parking structure look pretty cherry.
Well, the sideline, they were blocking people. They were kicking people off of the parking garage. So
yeah, they put up the tarps, right?
They put up those tarps.
Yeah.
Now, was that they said it was construction? Was there really construction going on there, or was he just blocking the fans?
I don't know. There might have been. There might have been construction because honestly, I don't know if they would have put the tarps, but they were still kicking people out. I mean, they weren't letting people stand there anyway. So they were pretty vigilant of people being there. But I mean, there are people getting close. You know, Brad, who is a sponsor of the show. I want to reach out, Brad, Oahu Sports Fans at Oahu Sports Fans. If you want to go hang out with Brad at Oahu Sports Fans, go check him out on Instagram. He is the sponsor of this show, actually. So mahalo for
I love it.
Always helping out. But I got to hang out with him a little bit in front of Stan Sheriff. It's just different. And I mean, look, can we fill 35,000 right now? No, I'm not even gonna let you guys answer that question. I'm gonna answer it for you because it's a pretty obvious one.
We can't even get to 20.
We can barely get to 20. So nine will be the test. I'm serious. Like, and I don't think we're gonna get 9,000 season ticket holders. And even though the school was like, well, we're not gonna let everybody get season tickets. I have my season tickets for next year. And guess what? Most of the map was empty when I went pick my season tickets. And I was a late season ticket holder. I mean, even though I've been a season ticket holder for 15 years and never missed a single home game. I still was a late addition, a late call. And I had plenty options, believe me, choke options. I was like, I want to sit as low as you can. And she's like, well, basically every section is open, like literally. And this is the lowest you can get in each section. Like she went over every freaking section with me. So, and that's why I'm saying, well, are we going to do that with this last game too? Like, okay, where you like sit, can't empty, where you like, you think we can accomplish that with 9,000 people in 1 week? No, sorry. It's not going to happen. I mean, the obvious thing is letting these people, yes, the main people they want to take care of. Obviously, that we've already been talking about this from the beginning. We are not people they need to worry about taking care of. I mean, I'm sorry. As much as you donate, even if you're an Aloha member, whatever. If you're not on the top, you're not on the platinum, they're not going to worry about you because these guys are donating absurd amounts of money. A lot of it at the corporate, from corporate channels. But we have people who's now in the circle of honor, a woman, and we talk about her all the time, who is basically the number one donor to UH. But it's like, of course, they want to make sure these people are hooked up. But I mean, at the end of the day, they're not. To fill it up, you're gonna have to open it. You cannot be this. You're not going to be able to be this restrictive, this close to the game, because you're not going to get 9,000. You're not going to fill up 9,000. And I mean, I'm going to say of all the vaccinated people, first of all, which is also something that's going to prevent some people from going, not everyone, but I think that at least takes out a solid, let's say 30% of how much is not? Yeah, because
71%
is so. Let's say 30% of the fan base. I still think we barely claw to 9,000 of people that want to go to the game right now. And how is that going to translate into the new Aloha Stadium entertainment district? And that's the thing. Is like Ige was saying, you guys don't even care about UH football, so why should I even open it up? And nobody was like, that's why I said nobody was fighting Ige about this. People are on Twitter being all big, like, F Ige, like, oh man, I'm sure he's really reading all those tweets and feeling terrible. Because UH football is under like the auspices of the state of Hawaii and its government and its and the funding that it provides. So it can go away at any time. And I don't think it's going to go away, but it's going to get smaller. And I mean, if we stay on campus, which I think this is what's going to happen. I think the stadium still needs to be built because we need to have a like concert venue and stuff like that. Like we still need those things. Like, so we still need to build a stadium, but I think UH will stay on campus. I don't think they'll ever leave campus. And the stadium needs to get a lot better. I mean, like, I think they still need at least a 20,000 seats just because it's a stadium on campus. Like, if you want to get at least 15,000 to keep the Division I FBS status, you should have like at least a 20,000 just to make sure you can get that 15 in. But I think it's UH is putting itself on track to a lower division. Like I said before, by being in the stadium is a joke. It really is in a lot of ways. And I'm not saying it's always going to be that way, but in its current state, it is. It's like it's bleachers that people will not sit in. For one thing, this is Hawaii. People are not going to, those bleachers are super freaking uncomfortable. They're like normal.
It is uncomfortable. Yeah, I watched the
aluminum bleachers
scrimmage there a couple years ago, and it's hard sitting on that concrete.
Yeah, nobody's going to want to sit
in the sun. Yeah, it's hard.
Well, they're aluminum. So now the whole stadium is aluminum bleachers now, unless you're sitting in a suite. But I mean, you can bring a pad, or hopefully they have pads. But even if you have a pad with a back, it's not sitting in a bucket seat with two armrests.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, like everything changes. Like, and those are just not understanding the fans, because a lot of fans will not sit on those seats, especially Kupuna.
I thought there was. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I thought there was a rule where you weren't allowed to bring any cushions or stadium adapter seats.
Yeah, so they most stadiums will provide though, or you can rent them. I mean, you have to pay, and it's a lot. You're still paying another $10 to rent per game, and you return them back, or you leave them at your seat and they come get them. That's what they do at like Air Force. Now that I've been to every Mountain West stadium and I've seen how it's done at every single Mountain West stadium, I think I know what I'm talking about a little bit. What's going on in Mountain West is considering I've been to every stadium, but I can tell you that people prefer bucket seats to bleachers 100 to 1 every single time, and especially in Hawaii where Aloha Stadium has spoiled people.
We're used to that.
Yeah, for a long time anyway. So I mean, that's going to be something, but we'll see. I mean, there were excited students to be there, and players had brought in some students too, and there were people jumping and dancing. So I think that's an exciting element for it being on campus. Like, I'm excited to have the students not have an excuse. Like, okay, if you can't walk from your dorm, and we don't need all the students, even just the students living on campus, if you can get 5% of them to show up to the game, it'll make a big difference. And just these kids' friends alone, who they hang out with, who they party with. I mean, it's exciting. I mean, I was by Nick Martiner, and he had his whole gaggle of friends and his girlfriend, and it was cool. I thought he had a little cheering section. I was like, that's cool. As a college athlete, you have your girlfriend there, and she's dressed all like with your number, and she looking all cute and stuff, and you got your friends wearing your number. Like, that's what players want. Like, he is like, I mean, and Nick Martiner, who I think we all agree should probably get the ball even more than he already does. Right. Is a guy that, he has that charisma, he has the looks, he has everything that he could attract a lot of his friends. So that's I think exciting. I think the players, like a lot of players were cheering for their friends. That was cool, hearing kids saying like their friends' names who were there. And I was like, oh, that's something we don't see. And I was telling Calvin's girlfriend, because I was sitting next to her, Alexis, I was like, honestly, this is the most students I've seen in a long time at a game. Even though we're restricted 1,000, there's only like 200 students here. That's a lot more than like most games. Like, and it was cool because they were all engaged too, and people stop, and people were, really, really excited to be in, this venue and make it the most of it. So I mean, I'm not saying everything is bad. Like, being on campus is good, and we could build it up nice, but in its current structure, I don't know how you're going to build it out. It's got to be at least 20 in my opinion. And it has to be at least 20. And the way it's built out now, it's kind of narrow even too. The sidelines, it's going to be interesting, but I don't know. I think this is where we play forever. I don't think we're leaving here. I think mostly because we will never be able to fill up. So why would we go pay rent over there? Like, why go bother with them? Because you can keep the concession and the
right? The
Yeah,
parking.
yeah, you can keep everything, and you don't have to worry about stadium authority. And like we said, a state government in Hawaii is so bloated and just it's crazy bureaucracy with the stadium authority, and then they have the accounting department. So like when we talked about the Cayetano, Abercrombie, whatever, Waihe'e triad, where so weird. It's like we the association of former governors, like it's just so weird, like how people in Hawaii can do certain things. And I guess because you used to be governor, you can do this, make your own press release and get all this coverage because you feel, and they're not wrong. We do need affordable housing, but let's see you out there in the news leading the charge. I don't see them at the environmental meetings. I don't see them at a lot of things. So I know this is frustrating a lot of people, like Senator Wakai, who I've had on the show before, because he's been such a huge proponent of this new stadium. But the problem that I told him from the very beginning is the fact that nobody communicates. There is a lack of cohesion amongst all of these different state agencies, like State of Hawaii, Department of whatever, Public Works, the Stadium Authority, Department of Accounting Services. Then you got UH, then you got the athletic department. Even outside of that, it's like none of them communicate. Clearly, the Stadium Authority had no communication with anyone. If they caught everyone off guard, I just find it so hard to believe still that's like everyone was completely caught off guard by the stadium. If they were, that means they must never talk to them. Don't you guys have meetings? Don't you guys report to somebody important to say like, hey, we might close the stadium for good?
Yeah, like I have friends that are like engineers that have refused to go into Aloha Stadium for like 5 or 6 years because they said that the structural integrity
for sure. Like that's what I'm saying. Like if the structural integrity was already compromised back then, what's the point of right now? Like, and why was everybody caught off guard? And that's a problem that I have, the biggest problem, because all these people who make money off of our tax-paying dollars, who have nice jobs. These are cush jobs. Let's say it. This is living in Hawaii. You get to live in a great place, have a white-collar job, live in a good area. You better have good ideas. Like, how hard is it to have good ideas to further, which I believe is a cultural symbol of Hawaii. Maybe that's too much for some people, a Hawaii football, but it's been around for literally 100 years, Sean?
Yeah.
Or
100 plus.
I would call that an institution already of Hawaii, because that's longer than some, restaurants that we've talked about in Hawaii have been around forever. No, Hawaii football has been along for a long time. So do we want to keep going with it? Because other schools will just say no. Other schools will just pull the plug. And remember when Ben Jay had even breached that and people were up in arms? I mean, what's similar with that same? Do you think that the same thing would happen if Matlin had made a similar statement? Not that he would, but what if he and let's remember that Ben Jay said it in a context of if this, then this. But people are like, he said that the program is gonna get cut. Like they only referenced the second part, but people were so up in arms.
There would be less pushback now than there was then.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
You're probably right.
How come? Well, why would you guys say that?
Well, because there's less fans and less diehard fans. So there's going to be less noise if they talk about shutting the program down. So
were you shocked that, I'm surprised that more fans didn't show up. I mean, let's be really honest. For everybody that really wanted to get into UH football, how many showed up? And I'm not saying they needed to be renegade Antifa like, protesters or something like en masse trying to hide around the stadium, but there weren't exactly people clamoring to get outside. And that includes us. I'm calling us.
Well, yeah, I think that's where the test will be for the San Diego State game. Now that there are no restrictions, how many people can you get in there? How many people are willing to go into there?
What is your prediction, Sean?
I'm hoping for 9,000. Like realistically, I'm thinking around 7.
Yeah. What about you, Aaron?
I'm hoping for 9,000 too. If we can't fill 9,000, that's going to be pretty scary. And like you said, we're just going backwards. And my fear would be, you can't even do 9,000. Do we move down to a lower division? I mean, we had 16,000 season ticket holders. You should surely be able to fill 9,000.
And a lot of people passed. A lot of people passed on purchasing season tickets.
Yeah.
And they're not coming back. They're not passing on season tickets. They're passing on UH football. They're done. And a lot of them are older. So
they're older.
a lot of them needed a moment to tell them to step away. And this was the moment that was given to them. But who is there to fill? But to them, and UH's eyes, if they find one rich person, that's the equivalent of like 1,000 regular fans. So that's what they rather do, go catch those big fish. But they're not even doing that. So, that's what I mean is like, why not make Hawaii football a priority in Hawaii and make sure we always have a robust fan base that is not only passionate and diehard, but will be willing to spend money commensurate with the experience given in all other Division I FBS institutions. Like, we should expect something. Aloha Stadium wasn't at the standard yet, but as a venue, it was a real stadium with bucket seats, with history, with my grandfather, my grandmothers, your grandparents, Aaron's grandparents, all of our grandparents, freaking blood, sweat, and tears that went into building it, not only freaking watching games there. It's a symbol of local people and our resilience in a changing Hawaii. And now it's changing again. And it's not on the uptick this time. UH football is not on the uptick. It's on the downtick. And that's the obvious thing that nobody wants to talk about, because and I go to every game, so I should be the first one to be able to talk about it, because nobody really sees anything rosier than me, who I still tell myself, like, really, I'm going to Utah. You really want to do this, Wayne? Like, I question myself, like, here you go again. And I think to myself, yeah, of course. What else would I want to do? Like, I know for me,
beautiful Logan, Utah.
But that's not how rational people think. I'm not a rational thinker in that way when it comes to beach football, right? It's about passion and love. But you cannot expect a bunch of irrational people to keep supporting. We already have very rational people that donate way more money than I'm just like, wow, like, Auntie, you can try hold on to that. Like, I feel bad for some people who are so like donate so much to the program. And to be honest, they don't care because you're not rich enough to be really cared about. That's what it is at the end of the day. And I don't care if people are offended by that. That's the absolute truth. And that's not saying, and to some people that's justifiable, because they could say, well, it's easier for me to work the phones trying to find like a big corporate sponsor than it is trying to fish out some money from grandma and grandpa. But honestly, I bet you try and do try and call auntie and uncle, call them and see what they would say. If your name is Todd Graham, if your name is Dave Matlin, see what they would say. Believe me, you would be surprised at maybe the reaction you get. Maybe they'd be a lot nicer than you realize. Even if they're like, nah, I'm Pow at UH. As soon as UH would call, they'd be like, oh yeah, I was thinking about, because that's how Hawaii people are. They still love it. We still love even if we are abused by something, we still love it. We still make excuses for it, even when things are substandard, the way that they're run. And then, and even worse, we get mad at the people who call it out. We get mad at the fans who don't even make money, calling them out on their opinions. That's how sad that it can be in this fan base. That's a bigger issue. But at the same time, we are not, and it's not all bad. If we can fish out a win against Utah State, which will be hard. But if we could win out the rest of the year, I think we'd have a good chance still at maybe sneaking into the Mountain West Championship. But it would probably require us winning out. I don't think we can at this point. What was the final score for this last game, by the way, Sean?
48-34.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, so 48-34. I said 34-17. Sean said 47-13. So he had a lot of points on that side, but I knew New Mexico State was going to score more. But
I was impressed with New Mexico State. Like, they're not as bad as I remember them back in the WAC days. They
have a good quarterback.
Yeah, they seemed a lot more competent in both contests. And if we go independent, we're going to be playing them 4 times a year.
For
real. Oh my goodness!
You're exactly right. If we go independent, we absolutely will play them at least twice a year. No doubt. Are you kidding me? We're going to make a rivalry trophy with New Mexico State if we go independent. That's not even a joke. That's the absolute truth.
Oh,
And the thing is, yeah, people talking independent, like, oh yeah, we go independent, bro. First of all, you gotta have a good administrator who can knows how to
Line
schedule.
of games.
And I'm not, and it's not to
Yeah.
call on UH's current administration, which I don't think they are capable of making a successful independent schedule, but not many people are, to be honest, and to be fair to them. But still, they
To be
wouldn't be
those
able to do it.
November
And
games
I
that
doubt
we
they would
really
be able
have
to
a
find
hard
anybody.
time.
Yeah,
We really have
especially
a hard time with
you
those
gotta have,
November
it's all
games.
relationships, and that's my biggest issue too. And I told you, it's relationships, just like any industry, just like any job. And what kind of relationships you have. If you don't have any relationships, it'll manifest in stuff like scheduling, when you have to schedule the same terrible team who is independent and most desperate twice in 1 year. And you still have to wait until the fourth quarter to put them away to the end of the game.
Right.
Both
In
times.
both games. Both games.
So this is frustrating, but Utah State is coming up. It's gonna be a tough one, obviously. Do we? Oh, I didn't even. Oh no, we do. Okay, here it is. So I said, wow, I was feeling myself, and I said that we would win 25-21. So I absolutely do not, probably don't see that happening now. But I would love to. I mean, who knows? It's not going to be super cold. It'll probably be only, and I will say only, but only in like maybe mid 50s. So it won't be
It's
like
an early
30s.
morning game, yeah? Or
It's like 1 o'clock,
mid-
afternoon.
Yeah.
So that'll be good. But it's Utah State is really good, really freaking good. So
Yeah, they're the leaders in the mountain, right?
yeah.
right.
So, and last time
And
I
how
was
many-
there, we lost like 40-0, 41-0.
Right,
Me and
that
Fuchsia.
was
It's just
such
me and
a
Fuchsia
shellacking.
there.
That was
So my
just
grandma
shellacking.
died. So when I found my grandma's passing away too, which I thought was apropos, I guess, given the state of our program at the time. That was Rolo's worst year, actually. Back then, that was a 2017 year. But that's what we always say too. Those second years have always been a problem for some coaches. So, Graham, and we talked about this before, but we'll ask Aaron. Does Graham have a? I mean, what would Graham? Is there any possible way that Graham would not be retained as coach at the end of this year? Do you think?
No, I don't think he's going anywhere. I mean, as long as he can, have decent seasons. I mean, he doesn't plan to leave any. I mean, he said it, right? He wants to be here as long as possible. And you always give a coach 3 years, right, to get his players in there. So I think he's good for another year. He does well this year. I think he's pretty safe.
Yeah. Well, even if he doesn't do well, that's what I'm saying. If he loses the rest of this, if he loses out, does he still come back?
We don't have the money to buy him out.
Yeah,
He's
I mean,
not
I
going
think he
for
comes
the
back
next 2
anyway.
years.
Yeah.
He
I
comes
mean,
back.
I think he comes back too. I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't, but I'm saying like that. So that's one thing that I think fans should just drop it anyway. If you have any issues with Graham, like,
We're not
look,
getting
it's
rid
not
of him. We
perfect.
can't.
It's not
Yeah.
perfect, and he deserves to criticism, and he listens. But any illusions that he's
He's a
going to be gone?
competent coach.
Yeah, he
His-
absolutely is competent. He absolutely
This year is
competent coach.
proof of that.
Yeah,
The wheels wobbled and
he's
gotten in there.
he's still looking for his grip. But there's going to be a lot that he needs to do on and off the field, Coach Graham, to be successful in Hawaii. That I hope he continues to do. But it has been curious that Shevin hasn't played for a little bit now. And we don't know the nature of his injury. We just know it's an upper body injury. I referenced last week that in an IG post, one of his teammates, in one of Shevin's posts, said that was an interesting way for him to do shoulder therapy. So it could be shoulder, but he
That's
doesn't
what I
look
heard
at,
too.
and that's hard. Like it doesn't mean you have to.
I
look
hope
hurt.
it ain't his
He
throwing
don't look hurt
shoulder.
at all. He don't look hurt, and not
Yeah,
to say
he dresses
is.
for every game.
So we won't throw out the conspiracy, but there are people that we're talking at the game that he was ready to go. That coach just didn't want him to play. So I don't know if that's true or not, and I'm not saying that is, but that's not an opinion that's too off base.
Obviously, the
We
right
don't even
decision
know.
because we won. We won. He got away with it.
Yeah.
So,
But I mean, Reno game we got exposed too. So
Going back to that injury, what I heard on the radio, I could be wrong though. They said when he threw a pick at New Mexico State, he actually knocked out the player that picked him off with his right shoulder. So they're saying that's when he was injured.
what do you
Did
mean?
you guys hear
What
that?
do you mean he knocked him? What do you mean?
Well, as he went after the defender that intercepted him, he lowered his shoulder and knocked him out of bounds. And that's where he had the injury.
Oh, possibly. Yeah, I could see that. You're right. I could see that. I mean, I just that was a long time ago though. At this point, it was like what 3 weeks ago.
Right.
So it's kind of a while. I mean, for something that's not like super serious, like if it's a sprain or something. So I don't know. I mean, it is seem curious that he hasn't played yet. And I'm not saying that it just wasn't because he was hurt, but it's
Both
also hard to believe because
quarterbacks
he's warming up too. So and he's like throwing balls as well. So and
aren't both
walking out.
quarterbacks supposed to play this weekend though? Isn't that the word?
I don't know. Did you read that?
Yeah, they're saying that both quarterbacks are supposed to play.
Who said that?
I think I heard on the radio said both quarterbacks, and then I think Shager's got one more game, and then his red shirt year is gone, right?
Yeah, that's another thing too. So, I mean, maybe coach just wants him to get his reps in while he has a chance to not burn a red shirt year. And maybe that's true, and he knows that he doesn't have to take chances with Shevin. So I'm just saying, like, it is strange. This is a very mysterious injury because when it's not being, and that could just be coach, but I don't remember any other player where we really don't know the nature of the injury like this, and it's like this long, and it's still like being talked about in vague terms, and he looks healthy, like he looks normal. So that's going to be, obviously we don't know what's going on, but that's what we're noting because that's something that we need to talk about if it's kind of an elephant in the room. But going forward, we have a lot of we don't have too much winnable or games that are going to be simple games. Even UNLV playing on the mainland is going to
UNLV always plays us tough.
Yeah, UNLV does.
That's true.
They've been in every game. They've been on just about every game they've been in. They've lost, but they've lost close.
Yeah. So that's going to be every game is going to be tough. I mean, we have Utah State, then we have San Diego State, then UNLV, then Wyoming, or Colorado State, and then Wyoming. Like Colorado State, I think lost recently. So maybe I don't know. So we'll see. But the good news is that we should have fans in the last two games. Like I said, mahalo to Calvin who got me into the game. I wasn't one of the special people who got tickets, but from other sources. But Calvin
Name
Turner.
Dropper.
I am going to because some people appreciate what I do. So that's nice. But I just hope that everyone that wants to go can get a ticket, can be there, and that's the thing.
I'm excited. I'm super excited to check this out and to just see UH football in person. So
yeah,
a long time for me.
Yeah, what were you saying, Aaron?
Me too. Like I told you guys last time I was on, I live right near the stadium, so you can actually see the lights and hear the music and the band right from the house. And it's hard to be that close and still not able to go. And I'm sitting there watching on my pay-per-view, and what was when Mackin was coach? What did they always say? There's nothing like being there, right?
Yeah.
Like I used to fly across the ocean, just to watch a game.
Yeah.
And I'm right down the road, and we can't go. So if I can get in, the last two home games, that'd be perfect.
Yeah, I hope a lot of people can be there because I know that everyone's been waiting for so long, and also that so many people have been, just I know that I mean I've been lucky, right? I went to 3 games last year during the pandemic, and I've been to a bunch of games this year, all the road games, and now a home game. But home games will be interesting. I'm excited to see more fans. I think that'll bring more spirit, but it is an interesting venue. We'll just put it that complex. It is a very complex because it is going to have adjustments. It's not Aloha Stadium, and I think a part of the stadium is what give it so much allure, our program. I mean, all of those old highlights, you see the stadium in the background. Like there's a reason you see the stadium in the background. People are like, oh man, look at how the stand. Everyone always looks at the stands too, right? Whenever we look at old footage, whenever we look at old photos to see what it was like, the crowd was like. But I don't know those days will ever come back. I really don't. I just I don't see a commitment by our school to earn new fans, and not just earning them by hiring coaches that win. Like that's the one part of your job. Like the coaching is winning and not going to bring fans back. I mean, even coaches losing will still have fans. Like it doesn't matter. Like Trapasso was around.
Rolovich proved that he won.
I mean, we have it both sides that it doesn't matter. Even if you win, even if you lose, like it really doesn't matter. It's the culture that you bring around your program too, which is important. And if the culture is not something that Hawaii is prioritizing anymore, and by Hawaii I mean our state, because even if you are not a UH fan and you are just a resident of Hawaii, you have an opinion of Hawaii football, or you know about Hawaii football. Like literally your taxpayer money is going to help subsidize this program. So you should be, cognizant of how your taxpayer dollars are being spent anyways. But I hope that it's still something that people think is important, because I just don't think that a lot of other people think is important. And I don't think I've been proved wrong especially when Ige is being so stubborn while the rest of the country is indoors. Like it's crazy, right? It should have happened a long time. As I'm saying, we always wait so long, and then they still want praise even after things change. Like, I can't. It's a big sheesh right there for some of these guys. But it's been a crazy season. We are 4-4 now, Sean? Or
4
we're 500.
4-4. Yeah, 4-4. We beat Mexico State twice. Which is good.
Portland State.
We beat Portland State, and we beat Fresno. At least we got one good win. I would say like of the games that really count, we're a solid like 1 and 2. I would say the San Jose game and Reno game. I mean, any conference games, the conference games are the important games. Period. The conference games are the important games. So that's why if we show up the way we can against Utah State, who knows, and we can continue this march. But Aaron, any last comments? I know we had conversations that we've had together are always UH centered, and I wanted you to have this chance too to kind of talk about the things that you wanted to bring up. But was everything addressed? I know you like to say, hey, let's talk about this on the show.
When I saw the Colt Brennan celebration, and I saw only the TV portion of it, I really wish that they had scheduled it on a day when we had 9,000 fans in there, and I just think we could have celebrated him so much more than what we did. I mean, I'm sure they put a lot of effort into it, and everyone did their part, but I just think we can be better. You think about what he did for the state of Hawaii, coming back and skipping his senior year to essentially play for the state. I think more could have been done, not just by the school, but by the state as well. I mean, everybody was a UH fan back then. Yeah. It's like everyone, it was like, it did so much for the state. And I just think, we could have done more to celebrate him. You talk to people and they always bring up the negative aspects of Colt Brennan. And I think so easily we forget, what he did, and it's I don't know. I moved to Hawaii back in 2013, and that was one of the big things for me is, whoa, I don't have to travel, across the ocean anymore. The stadium was right down the freeway, and the roar of that crowd and everything. But I would talk to coworkers and friends, and hey, you going to the game this weekend? Oh no, I used to watch them when they were good. Oh no, I give up on UH already. So it's just like the same pattern, I think more could have been done for the celebration of Colt Brennan. And still moving forward, I think there's more the school and the state can do.
Yeah, and if not, they couldn't have rescheduled this year. They should have done it when he was alive, and that's my biggest. Right. I was like, you do it the year. Why this year? Oh, because he died. Literally, think about that. The only reason is because he died. Because he died. Yeah, is why we're doing this now, which really saddens me the most. Because his playing career was clearly been over for us a long while. And he's a guy that's been in the dumps for a long while now. And I'm so glad that even the day I got to talk to him, that he was on an upward swing. And I think I helped keep his mood high because, we talked about good things that and the good days and the things that you said that we forgot about. Right. And that's the thing. People forgot about it, but it's not a bad time to bring it back out when it's time to, show off how you're going to honor
Because it was
him.
easy. They took the easy way out.
Yeah, it's easier that way.
Oh.
But,
Shout out to Corey Bethley, the Mountain West two-time defensive player of the week.
That's
That was an
right.
awesome game.
I was with him the whole way. I watched him telegraph that pick six. I mean, so fast I can't get my camera out. That's the only thing I can't do with those pick sixes. And we had two.
Right.
That was
Musal had
pretty
one
cool.
too.
Yeah, the Musal one was real cool. I know I had to rush to get my camera. I was like, oh, this guy is just picking balls in the middle of the air. But we have a lot of positive things to look forward to. And I don't want to commend Coach Graham. I think that there are things that, like I said, that they do earnestly try and change, right? It's impossible to have a coach too, usually, that you're going to agree with everything. It doesn't matter. There are people that still disagree with Rolovich when he was, winning games the hard way. And Rolovich, I thought, proved himself before he left UH. I thought he could have done more and probably would have set himself up for a different Pac-12 job and maybe wouldn't have to deal with all of what he's dealing with now. But I also can't fault him for wanting to leave a school that probably didn't really support a lot of his goals because they weren't supportive of growing the program in a way that was on par with the rest of the country.
Time.
I mean,
Small time.
June Jones talked about SMU so much before he left SMU. He always talked about that. He always gushed over their stadium every time he was in their tiny stadium too on campus. So now we want to finally do the on-campus thing. I'm for it, but it's got to be good. And in its current iteration, especially if everything there is already hard and fast attached there, like, I don't know what they're gonna make it look like. I mean, they got to fill in the pukas. There are some pukas, obviously, that they can fill in between. But even when you fill in the pukas and it's going to be small, I mean, that's a FCS stadium. It's not an FBS stadium. It's certainly not a Mountain West stadium. So we shall see. But mahalo to all of those who have been listening every week. Please continue to join us if you can on social media on Instagram at HI Sports Fans or on Twitter at HI Sports Fans. Or if you want to check us out on our website, we're going to be posting a lot of tours coming up soon. We, like I said, got our Tennessee Titans at Rams at SoFi for our 808 Titan fans to take a gander at. It's a great deal that I might have to take off down soon because it's too good of a deal. Probably, actually. I mean, it's air, it's room, 2 nights. It's all your transportation.
I don't get that. That's too cheap, man.
It is right now, but I'm throwing out the line. So if you are into it, I'm going to put you on Hawaiian Airlines because we're going to have a lot of tours coming up. And this is something that I want people to get used to because, growing up in Hawaii too, and being somebody that went from East Coast or West Coast home a lot, did that trip like that Aaron does, it's not a bad 5 hour. It's long, but it's not bad. Like you could do it on the weekends. Like it's not like so far. People drive from, San Francisco to LA. That's at least 5 hours. And people do that every week. I mean, some people, that's their commute, so it's not a bad thing. And sometimes you don't need that long. You just want to get away, get on the plane, sit down, land, get a few, drinks in, get some dinner, sleep the next day, get everything taken care of, go to the game. At SoFi, you can have a car and park, or, we can help you set up the transportation and, just go home on Monday. So maybe take off Monday, or we can find a way that you can leave the latest flight on Sunday night. And believe me, we've done it. We do it for the Super Bowl. I do Super Bowl tours in under 36-hour Super Bowl tours. And those are some of the best because like Super Bowl, 54, the best Super Bowl of all time, obviously the Chiefs winning and beating Niners. That was fun because we went straight from our, stadium in Miami Gardens straight to the airport and for our 2:15 flights back to Hawaii. So AM. Wow. So talk about getting in and out. I mean, that's what I love about the Super Bowl. They always have those flights. But that's the kind of things I know because I've been to 6 Super Bowls and I've squandered a lot of my money away and my retirement. But hey, some of us have to, this life chose me. So I have to do what I got to do. But I want to bring you all with me. And if you have any other games you want to go to, thank you for reaching out. We got a bunch of UH games left on the docket. I don't have anything major planned for you, and I'm hoping to just take it chill that week. It's going to be a crazy weekend, but I know a lot of you will be there, but I'm going to try and put on some events. So, like I said, we have our mailing list at hisportsfans.com. Please check that out. Email info@hisportsfans.com. I'll call you back up personally if you have any questions about tours or any help that you need. And let's go out there. Let's go make some memories together on the road. But for Sean Iman and Aaron Montoya, this is Wayne Coito. We'll talk to you guys all next week on the Rainbow Wrap Up. Take care. Aloha.
Hey, Dara.
All right,
Go
go
Bulls.
Bulls.